All right, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll get started here. We have a lot to cover tonight, and I know Joe's got a hard deadline. So welcome everybody to the Finance Committee for Wednesday, 3/31. We have quite a few things on our agenda tonight. Acceptance of minutes, budget articles, discussion regarding the school budgets, RFP for zoning discussion of wage and personnel amendments, reserve fund transfers, correspondence, public participation calendar as may arrive, and we also have an executive session for contract negotiations. So there's quite a lot to get through tonight. So let's get started with the first thing of knocking off the minutes from March 24th. So everybody who is here tonight, we have attendance, Cheryl, Joe, Drew, and myself. All of these individuals were also present for the March 24th minutes. So if one of you would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from March 24th, that would be great.
So moved.
Second. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Cheryl.
Yes.
Drew.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
And myself is yes. So that takes care of the minutes. We had quite a bit of correspondence. Some of it actually does pertain to budgets and articles. So why don't we knock that out so we're not missing anything when we get into the budget discussion. So Linda, you want to go through all the stuff that we got? I see some was from the water department.
Sure. I'll just give you a quick run through of what I have here, and then you can speak about them individually. I believe I sent it out to each member. So there were two pieces of correspondence from the water department, one regarding an increase in the vehicle maintenance and another in the increase in the meter accounts, just saying they wanted them prioritized. The other one was for prioritizing additional overtime hours for the administrative assistant. There was a memo from the treasurer collector regarding prioritizing a wage, increase in hours on the wage line in that. And then the correspondence from Lauren Carmichael, just saying that she would have to step down from the finance committee because of other personal engagements that she has to take care of. And then I believe I just sent you all, hopefully you got it, the email from Christine as far as a couple answers to questions that came up in regard to the discussion she had the other night about the budget. There were a couple of lines that were questioned and she sent that. And I think that is all I have.
All right, so that's a good segment into the discussion on the Silver Lake and the HES budgets. Joe and I and Tom had an informal discussion with some members of the Silver Lake administration, specifically Joe Pollux from our superintendent, Christine Healy. Gordon Andrews was also there representing the HES. We did a walkthrough of each of the line items. I believe that we have a document that kind of goes through all the items that we reviewed. I believe Linda sent that out for Cheryl and Drew to review. We did have some questions. I do see that Christine actually did respond to a couple of them. Specifically, we were questioning increases in the middle school guidance line. We also had questions with regards to the contracted services line, which was quite a bit high. And so we got answers on that. So Joe, did you have any questions or comments based on the new information that we got from Christine that you'd like to share based on our discussion that we had?
I really don't. I don't see anything that I have any questioning on. No.
Okay. Christine, Drew, I don't know if you had a chance to go through the document with all the questions. Did you have any questions yourself that we might be able to answer based on our conversations?
I don't think I really have any questions. I don't know.
Okay, how about you, Cheryl?
No, it is what it is.
Okay. So we'll get into actual voting on the budgets a little bit later. I just want to get through some of the other stuff on our agenda for tonight. Do we have any reserve? Do you want to say something, Jim? Okay, that's what. Do we have any reserve fund transfers?
We do not.
Okay. The discussion of wage and personnel, anything on that? Is Charlie?
No, I'm starting finally to get data from the other towns. What I suspect we're going to need to do is on the warrant, place sufficient information that works continuing on some of these items. So for instance, grade 6 and 7, and indicate what the options will be for the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen in terms of recommendations, and then obviously town meeting. But it may be something like, well, I'm paraphrasing here, we're continuing to look at grade 6 and grade 7. Recommendations may include changes in the pay scale, changes in grades, or other changes in benefits and compensation or something like that. Because I don't know that I'm going to have, how much I'm going to have by Monday. Monday's going to be the last meeting, and I don't really think it's right for me to jam this into you on Monday and say, make a decision based on stuff you're just seeing 30 minutes before the meeting or something like that.
Okay. Also on our agenda tonight is the RFP for zoning discussion. Does anybody want to talk about that, or do we want to postpone it to finish up the budget stuff?
I think we should postpone it to get the budget stuff done.
Okay. Do you agree, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, with my hard stop, if we don't stop voting, you're going to lose quorum.
That's what I was afraid of. So, Linda, can you move that to next week? We only have a meeting on Monday next week. Is that correct?
So far, yep.
Right. So, for our calendar, we're set for next Monday. Is there anything we're going to have to do after Monday? Like, do we need to have a secondary meeting, like on Wednesday, Charlie, or do you think we could go back to the normal Monday schedule?
I think, well, at least I don't see a reason to do Wednesday. We're going to be, Pam, Sandy, myself will be putting together the final version of the warrant to go to press, and it becomes more difficult the more last minute changes there are. Basically, as long as the articles are on the warrant, even if you're saying recommendation at town meeting, even Article 4, for instance, there, we've done this before. If there's a need to make a change in the recommendations for any of the articles, including Article 4, you are able to do that. And in fact, I believe I have something in the warrant that basically says, we're in a pandemic, folks, things change. This isn't necessarily the final word. So I don't try and have a Wednesday meeting just to get something done with the warrant in order to go to press with it. You want to meet Wednesday, that's up to you, but don't do it on my account.
Yeah, I'd prefer to get back to our normal schedule. I'm just trying to decide whether we're going to have enough time on Monday to discuss the RFP. I guess we could always postpone it if it gets late, because again, obviously the budget stuff, it takes priority.
Well, the other thing is, or aim for the RFP, I think, if you do decide to select a firm, is to go with changes, proposed changes in May of 22.
Right.
It's not connected with this. I mean, I don't mean infinite delay. Get the budget and get the warrant done first. When you've done anything you can with those, then go to the RFP. Not wait forever, but in the next couple of weeks, certainly.
Okay, that was kind of my feeling as well. So my thought process, we put it on the agenda, but we will play it by ear next week and see if that's actually doable. Now, ask you, Charlie, should we go into executive session for budget articles?
Fred, sorry, Fred.
Yes.
Well, I'm seeing a bunch of people who I don't recognize their names coming in here. I think I have good controls over the situation, but just so you're aware, if we get bombed, I'll close the meeting and we'll restart. You just log in again.
Okay.
Okay. I believe I have this control of the screens and everything else. But
Yeah,
I'm seeing a whole bunch of people whose names I've never seen.
recognize.
Yeah.
So just if I suddenly terminate the meeting, it's not you. It's
Okay.
I'll assign to Jim. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Okay. So getting back to my question, we have some budget discussions and amendments left to vote on. So should we can and then come back to the executive session, or since the executive session with the contract negotiation kind of dictates
They can bomb us.
the numbers, should we do that first? Especially since we're probably going to get kicked out anyways.
Yep, you're gonna get bombed.
So how about we vote to go to executive session? Somebody like to make the motion to move to executive session?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, we got to do a roll call vote real quick. Cheryl,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. So we're going to move off to executive session, Charlie, and we can discuss the contract negotiations.
Okay. Well, I didn't realize we're going. Is there anything else you need to do besides the executive session?
Well, we have lots
Yes.
of budget discussions, but my
I would-
problem is I can't figure out where our numbers are going to go unless I know what the numbers from the contract discussions are going to be.
Well, we don't have. I really don't have anything more for you on the contracts that I can give you definitive numbers.
Okay.
I gave you an idea I sent a note probably about 4:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Some, basic ideas on the overall budget. And, I can, and I can even, since it's a public document, I'll say, we might be looking at 50 to 100,000 to settle the 3 contracts for 21, which would then carry over to 22. We're nowhere on FY22 right now for any of the contracts.
Okay.
So I can't even give you an idea. I mean, you have an idea that if you gave everybody a 2% increase for outside the school systems, for union, non-union elected, I think it's $106,000, which obviously given everything else, it's not affordable.
Yep.
But for the 21 contracts, without going into specific contracts, we've got 3, might be 50 to 100,000, somewhere on that order.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only if we settle, and we haven't settled anything.
Yeah.
So I ran into the reason I'm being, I'd like to wait on the executive session a little longer, not just maybe for tonight, is simply that I ran into a problem last month. I forgot that we were doing a Zoom and we were doing executive session. So I included the executive session in the recording. So the recording went to YouTube, including the executive session.
I don't care so.
So I can work on that.
Dope.
We go to the executive session last, but I don't have anything to tell you. So
Okay. I was just trying to figure out again, we're trying to figure out what your best guess of the number was so that
Frederick, shut the fuck up.
so that we could at least track back from what we have available and come up with a number.
I'm going to mute everybody for a minute, folks.
Okay, Peter.
Hi. Hello.
Okay, I'm on mute. I'm asking people to unmute who I recognize right now. So give me a minute here.
Oh, he just went off, that guy that was doing that.
Okay, I think I've unmuted the people I want to unmute. We'll go from there.
Okay, so looking at your correspondence, Charlie, it says we have 246,254 available for additional appropriation from raise and appropriation. So that would be the articles.
No,
Okay,
raise and appropriate is basically Article 4 with a couple of exceptions like the reserve fund as an example.
okay, I was just wondering why the middle school was commented in there.
Because the school resource officer,
Yeah.
that would come out of raise and appropriate. That would come out of taxes because it's part of Silver Lake's budget, really.
Okay, that's what threw me off because I'm like, well, articles typically aren't raise and appropriate, but it was there. That's why I was kind of like,
Yeah.
Right. So the only articles that are usually raise and appropriate are the reserve fund, the any of the union or collective bargain agreements, any of those, and this one. So if it's something that is like wages or something that really should be in the budget, we take it out of raise and appropriate.
so does that number include the 36,000 or does not?
That number includes the 36,000. So I've already taken the 36,000 out. If you look at the synopsis page on
Yep.
on the
Well,
sheet.
my question with regards to that is why did we take that out considering we voted no as a finance committee?
Well, that's a good point. Maybe I should leave it in.
Because again, my philosophy is we're trying to get to that $300,000 number.
Right.
If the town wants to vote into that, that's their call.
All right, then you should add the 36,000 back in, Fred. That's a very good point that I did not think of.
Right. So roughly it's 282. That's where we are. All right. And we've got so we haven't actually looked at the data processing line yet. Is that in there at all?
The data processing line is included in there. It's not recommended yet, but I included everything from Article 4. So data processing is in at 135,705.
Okay.
I think you got the information I sent you on Caesar.
Yep. So
And that was the lowest of the options.
okay. So let's stop there for a second. Now, the plan again was to level fund everybody, and then we come back at the end and figure out what everybody else is, what's left and what's everybody gonna get. So
right.
135,705 is the level funded number, correct? That's the correct number.
I cannot say that. Charlie, you'd have to speak to that.
Yeah, I'm looking at what Caesar just gave me earlier today. The real problem is most of this is very familiar to me, but I want to make sure, if I look at this, let's see, 3140, 77, 79, 120.
Because my goal would be to get everything.
If you want to level fund it, that's fine. As a starting point, I will say that we will lose things out of what we would say are essentials of our IT operations. But start off with that, that point where we're going to say we're level funding, and then just as with everything else, you'll make some decisions about with the money that you have left, what you're going to fund.
Right, because that's what Monday's plan will be. If we can get through everything and we know what's left, then Monday we'll come back and say, okay, we have, let's say $60,000, what we're going to do with it. And everybody can make up a plan of like where they think we should best spend it. All right, so I'd like somebody to make a motion to approve line 15 data processing in the amount of $135,705.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Cheryl,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
myself is a yes. So that is recommended at 135,705. Now, that just basically leaves us the schools, correct? For the expenditures?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, we have vocational education, special needs tuition, special needs transportation. I don't think we can do anything on those. Is that correct? They are what they are?
Right, except that Christina is supposed to be letting us know April 1st is tomorrow, and that is the deadline for vocational. So if that line can come down, she should be letting us know that hopefully tomorrow, but she probably won't tell us until after the Monday meeting of the school committee.
I see.
So,
Vocation and, I mean, doesn't it appear vocation and transportation are the same?
vocational education is like the tuition to social vocational or.
No, I know, but the funding that's requested is what they asked for last year. It looks like based on
It's the same, it's the
Yes,
same
same
amount.
level.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's no increase on that or transportation.
Yeah.
Right.
So my thought process is, well, we knock off the three that are,
Yeah.
the special needs and special needs, because they're exactly, we just knock them off.
Right. She also talked about possibly changing what she had for contribution on the circuit breaker. She was in at 55%. She thinks she could go up to 60%, but she wasn't sure. Again, all of that, pardon me?
Does that change any of those lines, or will that come up?
Special education tuition, it will change.
It will change those?
Yes.
But we could right now vote on 72, 74, and 76.
Well, we already did 76.
Yeah.
I mean, 72 and 74, sorry.
Okay, so I'd like somebody to make a motion. Line 72, vocational education, the amount of 156,500, and line 74, special needs transportation, in the amount of $4,730, $473,800.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, let's do a roll call vote then. Cheryl,
Yes.
Joe,
yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and myself is yes. Okay, now we have the hard decisions. We have the elementary school and the Silver Lake assessment. The elementary school is at 3.4%. Silver Lake assessment is at 4.8%. Neither one of those are doable.
None.
Do I have any recommendations? I mean, I came up with different numbers based on percentages. I mean, does anybody have any guidance that they want to provide? Where we should go? I mean, should we shoot for a certain percentage or a certain dollar value, or what do you want to do?
So the one question I have, Sandy, right? The numbers in the blue column are adjusted asks, or what are those
The number
numbers?
in the blue column for the elementary school cost is an adjusted ask.
Okay,
Okay. We took and we added back in the transportation increases over last year and the steps and lanes. We did not, she had also given us an adjustment for, I can't remember exactly what else it was for, but that was supposed to be adding back in the steps and lanes and the increases in the transportation from last year.
so that 3.4% though, I think is calculating off the 5,992 to the 5.7,
Yes, it
right?
is. Exactly, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do we know what's the percentage? What does it drop the percentage to? Just under 3?
If we want,
If you went to the 5,893?
Mhm.
from 5992 down to,
Yeah, down to 5893.
Yeah, I think it's about 2%. Let me try
So,
one.
no, I guess what the 3.4% is calculating off is the difference between the 5992 and the 5794.
Right.
From the year prior. So
Right.
if you change the 5992 to the 5893 number, what is that percentage?
93, 84.
if we leave that number alone is what you're saying, because that number is already built into
94,
our, we have left.
It would be with that adjusted budget of 5893, it's a 2.7%.
Yeah,
So would the recommendation be to leave it alone because that number is already built into the number that Charlie,
but that's our adjustment. That is not their adjustment. So they have not voted this budget because they've
oh, I
been
know they
waiting-
haven't voted the budget.
No, I know, but they've been waiting for guidance from you. So I gave you, from information that I got from Christine, a suggestion.
Yeah,
You could easily say to them, we don't want you to go up more than 2%, or we don't want you to go up more than 2.5%. I would never think more than that, just because I keep
Yeah.
thinking we have a
So what-
2.5%.
yeah. So what was the percent increase again?
2.7 the way it's written right now. So to get to 2%,
Mhm.
you would have to increase the budget by 115,891.
Yeah, you mean to drop it down so that we only had a 2% increase?
Correct.
Actually, I showed only a 2% increase. I'm not sure you get 2.7, so
Yeah, I only showed
I think
roughly.
2.7 will bring it up to 5,951,000. If we could keep it at, I mean, this is 2% from my calculations. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
using
all
my
right.
calculator without a tape, so.
Let's see here. 58933.
Yeah, it's a little under. It looks like it's a little under 2%.
3,884 minus.
Just fine.
Yeah. All right. So do we have a recommendation then on a percentage that we should shoot for? It's like,
Yeah, just under 2%. I have
yeah,
a,
yeah. So do we want to say 2% or do we want to go 2.5? What do you want? What's
I'd like-
a 2%? Yeah, go ahead, Sandy.
I was gonna say, I'd like to hold them to 2.
Yeah,
Only
Yeah.
because if we get stuck with that Silver Lake amount,
Yeah,
that's gonna be very difficult for us.
okay.
But it's not my call. It's, I am
Well, I'm-
speaking out of turn. It's really,
I go with the 2% too.
Okay, so I have one vote from the finance committee from Cheryl for 2. Joe, what do you think?
yes.
Drew, what do you think?
I'll vote yes. That sounds,
Yeah, would okay, so what would the number be at 2%?
You're adding, what, about 115,000 to the
Yeah.
5794, 574?
Yeah.
Right.
So it would be 591046548,
9.
which is what Sandy has on the sheet right now, all the way in column X.
5910456. So 5,910,466. Is that right, Sandy?
All right, so Joe, you got me because I didn't print, I'm going from a printout and I don't have column X on.
I get 2%. I get 2% if we go with 5,910,466.
Yeah, if you
That sounds
just,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go with that number. So I need somebody to make a motion. Line 71, elementary school costs in the amount of $5,910,466.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Cheryl?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
And myself is yes. All right, this leaves us with a tougher one.
So it's only in essence, just as a side note, it's only in essence about $80,000 off the ask.
Yeah, so that's why I think that one's not too bad.
Yeah.
Now,
I was thinking about it. You guys could actually vote the special needs budget, and then if she can come down, she will. Because she said Halifax is having a tough year with special needs tuition this year. So if you want to vote that, at least we'll have it voted.
yeah, that's true. So that's line 73, right?
Right.
All right, so would somebody like to make a motion to approve line 73, special needs tuition in the amount of $2,099,345?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Cheryl?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. I believe that just leaves us the Silver Lake assessment number, which is, they have it 4.8%. Based on, did we ever get a feel of how the Kingston dealt with this?
Absolutely, yes.
Clinton didn't seem to have a problem based on what I read in the paper.
Cheryl, somebody has a radio or something in back.
Oh, me.
All right.
Did you know that it actually included Lugar stuff?
So,
I'm sorry, Fred, what was the question?
my question is, well, twofold. One, did we get a feeling of how Kingston was feeling? I read in the paper that Plimpton didn't seem to really have a problem with it. My second question is, does this number include our minimum contribution increase?
I believe
That
it
I
does.
can't answer. Charlie, can you?
I'd have to go back and look. I don't have a direct answer, but I would think it would. I mean, if we level funded, would it? Or do you-
Yeah, correct. If we just said, heck with it, we're just keeping it as is,
I'd
46325.
have to check. I'll see if I can check while you folks are talking. The from Kingston is, I'm getting it secondhand, but my understanding is Kingston will probably vote for this.
Yeah, and Plimpton's gonna vote for it too. I'm sure. But we can't, see, this is the problem. We can't take that increase because it just wipes out everything we have left.
Right, the only way you're gonna get it is using the 300.
Right. So we can recommend any amount we want, with the understanding though that if the other two towns vote it, we're on the hook. So I don't know how you guys want to proceed. I mean, we could just say the heck with it, we're gonna go with 223, and that leaves us nothing left, basically. We could say, hey, we would prefer to do this number and vote that number, and then say, well, we'll assume it passes and we still have nothing left. Or we go with, this is the number we want, and that we're gonna go way into that $300,000 if it gets voted.
Yeah.
Fred, the answer on the minimum contribution, we're way. The minimum contribution for FY22 is $3,633,946.
Okay. So we have roughly 6 minutes before Joe has to leave. Does anybody have any advice how they want to proceed with this one?
It's almost like a catch-22, but
It is.
where Plimpton, we can see it. Charlie's got secondhand information about Kingston,
Yep.
which obviously they had the big horse in the whole thing anyway, right?
Yep.
So a couple plays are, vote it in because you know it's going anyway, and you go along with it. The flip side to it is if one of them does vote it down and we voted for it, where we just cost them, right, and we cost ourselves.
Yep.
The second option is to vote what we want and get it voted and force us into it, which I think there's a two give. I think we need to give something, but I think we can adjust the percentage from the 4.8 to something a little bit better than just saying no, because then it could, I don't know, it's a catch-22.
Well, if we went with a 2% increase, then the increase over the what the level fund is $92,650. So that basically takes, of what we have.
That's the 2%, right?
Yeah. So I'm almost saying let's go with the 2% so that we're consistent.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Then the problem, of course, then is if it gets overridden, that's $130,000 into the $300,000. So, all right, then seems to be that's what we should do. Then would somebody like to make a motion for line 75 Silver Lake assessment in the amount of $4,725,192?
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's do a roll call vote. Cheryl,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
myself is a yes. So that takes care of everything that's on the expense side, right?
I believe. Oh, I need you to re-vote a line.
Sure. What line?
The line is number 109, trash collection and disposal. When I was talking to the woman down at recycling, she said that figure is a contract figure.
Which
It also
line?
comes out of the enterprise fund, so it does not affect our available raise and appropriate because it be paid by them. So
okay.
It's 200, the figure should be 242,743.
Sure. All right. So would somebody like to make a motion to approve line 109 trash collection disposal in the amount of $242,743?
I said that. So moved.
Second.
Cheryl, we changed the amount. That's why we had to revote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do a roll call vote then. Cheryl,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. So we're almost out of time because I know Joe's got to leave. Let's see if we can knock off.
Sorry, Fred, just as a reminder, it's not the budget, but it's the article. You needed to revote the article amount for the ACs.
Yep. That's what I wanted to get to.
Yep. Oh, perfect.
So we had Article 117, which was replace the hall flooring in the amount of $12,000. We're holding for information, which we got. Would somebody like to make a motion on A117, replace hall flooring in the amount of $12,000?
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's do a roll call vote on that. Cheryl,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. Let's knock off the tennis courts real quick. A20 Silver Lake Regional Tennis Court repair in the amount of $105,000. Does somebody want to make a motion on that?
No.
Again, we don't. You don't have to vote yes or no. I just need to have the roll. I need to get to the roll call. So, do I hear a second?
Okay, I'll make a second.
Okay. So we have a first and a second, right? All right. Let's do a roll call vote. Yes or no. Cheryl,
No.
Joe,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and I'll say no. So that's a 2-2 split, and it fails.
Okay. You need A19, the air
Right.
conditioning, that.
Yeah.
we're
What's the correct?
changing.
What's the number? Is that 18,600?
Yes.
All right. Would somebody like to make a roll call vote on A19, install central air conditioning in the tech lab and art room in the amount of $18,600?
Jesus.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, can I have a roll call vote? Cheryl,
Yes.
Joe,
yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and myself is a yes.
Hey, guys, I gotta run, but I'm gonna try and get onto my phone if I can, because I'm gonna travel for just a few. So if I can get on in the car, I will.
Okay,
And I'll let you know I'm back.
thank you, Joe.
Okay, thanks,
Yep.
everybody.
Okay, with Joe leaving, we do not have quorum, so we cannot do any more voting. We can obviously discuss things, correct, Charlie?
Yeah, it gets dicey because I'm going to need to stop the recording.
Okay.
At this point, so let me do that. So technically, move to adjourn the meeting, please.
Okay, sure. I need somebody to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:40 p.m.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I need a roll call vote. Cheryl,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and myself is yes. So that concludes tonight's